You're listening to the Source Property Podcast, your number one source of tips and tricks for starting your property business. Hello and welcome to another Source Property Podcast. My name is Chris Kirkwood, and today I'm joined by one of the newest members of the Source support team, Rory Kenny. Hello, Rory.
Hello everyone.
So today's podcast is all about the importance of networking. And the reason that we've asked Rory on here is because as a member of the support team, Rory will go to networking events with our franchisees, with our network of people, and he'll help coach them and advise them and guide them, not only at being at a networking event, but also at hosting networking events. So first of all, let's start off with the most simple question. So what exactly is networking?
Networking for me, it all boils down, I think, is to just building them connections around you. Without those connections, and I've always said that with property, it's a people business. And if you've got people around you that can help you, you can learn from, you can even moan to, see how things have gone right, things could have gone wrong, a lot of the times gone wrong. But it's how you can just bounce off each other, I think, and having a like-minded people around you. Yeah,
it's about having an intelligent and informed conversation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you say, it might be something. You might meet your next business partner at the next networking event that you go to, or you might just have a good whinge with somebody. But you're having a whinge with somebody who understands property. They understand what you're doing, what you're going through. But yeah, absolutely, it's about building connections. And for me, it's about giving yourself opportunity. Now, you have no idea when you go to a networking event who else is going to be there, so you don't know what kind of opportunity you're going to get. But by going there, you're giving yourself the best chance to have that opportunity come across your path for you to take advantage of. So let's say I've got a development. I'm pretty happy with my development. I've got a team in place. I've got everything that I need. I've got funding, everything sorted out. Why would I go networking?
I think you can never really stop learning. There's going to be someone in that room, more than likely, that's going to have done a bigger, better, or even a less, even a worse project or a development. So the things what you can do, you can sit there with them and go, okay, am I on track? I feel like I'm on track, and they could just put you straight within 5 minutes and say, if you carry on the way you're going, I've fell across that pitfall 5-10 times, and even that one conversation has just one network event has just completely changed you from going down the wrong path. And I think for me, no matter what level you're at, there's always someone there who can help and guide you at those events, or bring someone new. You could say, actually, have you thought about having, you might not know what's the quantity survey, and you think, no, it's okay, I don't want that. But then you're speaking to someone, and then there's one in the room, and you think, well, that's just saved me hours of times of the essence. You think, I can just go over there and speak to that guy, and he's a quantity surveyor. So yeah, I think it's always useful.
And speaking as somebody who's had a development of 10 houses, with a main contractor on there, and that main contractor's gone bust, like you don't know what's going to happen to you, so you don't know what you need. You know what you need right now, and me playing the role of that developer who's got everything sorted and is quite happy. You know, you don't know what's going to happen around the corner, because it's not just you in control of your world. You're so reliant on so many other people that they could throw a spanner in the works, and then you are desperately in need of something. So the more connections you can make, the quicker you can jump into that, the quicker you can sort that out, right?
Yep. So
what's networking helped us achieve and helped our franchisees achieved since we started? And this is just, let me just make a quick distinction here, because we do actually host our own networking events as well. So I'm not talking about hosting our networking events and having people come to us as the host of that event, just attending networking events, just like anybody else would when they first start networking. What kind of opportunities have we seen?
Well, we've seen the chance for the franchisees to run their own. And I think with that, naturally, if you're hosting that network event, as soon as you get 5-10 minute break, they're going to come over to you, and you never know, you could meet a lead from there. Someone could give you a good deal. You could be introduced to new investors, and you're also getting the guys you've hosted with, they're also interlinking between each other. But as the host, you're looking at it at a different angle. You're pulling everyone together, and it can only be wins that can really come from that through hosting.
Absolutely. So from just attending a networking event, what kind of things have we seen? Well, we've seen people doing business with each other. We've seen business partners form. We've seen direct-to-vendor leads come to our franchisees. We've seen connections made with people that they didn't even realise that they needed a different serviced accommodation cleaner, let's say. But the person that they met at that networking event showed them what they were missing out on. And so they made a connection. They did business. They've got a more efficient serviced accommodation company now, or a more efficient serviced accommodation product now because of that connection. And if you're going there just for yourself, if you're attending somebody else's networking event, one of the things that you can do as well is get attention. Right, so if you're dealing in property and you want to build your reputation, build your brand in property, it's a really easy way to get out there and talk to other people who are involved in property, so they've then got their eyes on you. Because as you build your career in property and you build your portfolio, there are so many other opportunities that come across your path. Now, if you've got a lot of attention, and you maybe maintain that attention through something like social media. So you go to a networking event, you drive people to your social media, you build up your social media presence. If you do something like that, more opportunities are going to come across your path. And when something does come across your path and you says, and you say to them, look, yeah, I can do this for you, I can fulfill this role, and I've also got 5,000 people that watch me on Instagram, I've also got 10,000 followers on LinkedIn, then all of a sudden you become a more valuable commodity to them as well. So there's lots of different ways that you can use networking to forward your career within property. So we talked about hosting your own events as well. Yep. And you're absolutely right. It's all about building your credibility there, because if you're at the front of a room full of property investors and you're holding stage, holding that audience, and dictating what's happening in that room, and you are running that event, that does wonders for your credibility. So what we do with our franchisees, in fact, do you want to tell them what we do with our franchisees with our networking events and how we structure it with the deal board?
Yeah, so is this around more what you're saying with the deal board, as in they can come up and they can run through deals with them? Is that one way they can?
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
Bit of a bit of a clinic, like a deal clinic. So if you've got any challenging situations that you've got currently within your pipeline, you can come up, run through them, talk through them, and then you've got everyone. And it's a good way as well of sussing out who is in the room. So you can see, you'll notice the architect to be quick to go, there's a solution for this problem within that deal clinic. And then then everyone's looking at him, you can exchange business cards, you've got your architect. I think another good one around running the host events though is you're going to come across over the years, there'll be challenges within, a bit like COVID. I had best friends who were in the build trade and they just wouldn't answer the phone to me because they were inundated. So it's always good to have a number of contacts. You can never have too many builders, too many tradesmen, and you can always lean on them.
Are you sure that's why they wouldn't answer the phone?
Well, I don't know.
Have they answered the phone to you since?
That might have been the weekend before, that why they never.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, keep building your team, and what better place than in the room while they're all around.
So what we do, each one of our franchisees, each one of our guys that host a networking event, we give them a deal board, and they can put this deal board at the front of their networking event, and they can say to anybody that attends their networking event, you can put a deal on our deal board if you want. If you've got something you want to sell, put it on our deal board. So what that does, gradually people get to learn that not only could they sell a deal at the networking event, but also investors will want to attend because they know that deals are for sale at that networking event. And how many networking events have people been to where there's not actually anything you can do yourself? You can go and you can get some education and you can get sold to in terms of a training course or something like that, but actually buying a property deal is very rare at networking events, which is why the ones that we host at Sourced stand out. So for the person that's hosting, they put all the deals on the deal board, and then they can talk through the deals with the attention of the entire room. Of course, the people in the room are going to be interested because they've turned up to talk about property or to learn about property. So the franchisee, our person at Sourced, talks about those deals, maybe, talks about whose deals they are, talks about the good stuff, talks about the stuff that doesn't make quite so much sense, as I'm sure some deals won't. All the time they're building their credibility. So if anybody in that room wants to do something with property, maybe they've got £100,000 that they want to invest, maybe it's £1 million. That person, our franchisee standing in that room has built their credibility in front of absolutely everybody. So that makes it much more likely that that person that's got money in their pocket is going to approach our person, the sourced franchisee, in order to help them build their portfolio or fulfill whatever they're trying to do. So that's why we do it as a hosted event. That's why we help our franchisees put on hosted events as well.
It's great for your socials as well, isn't it? If you can get your socials going at the networking event. I've even get some help, support. Anyone can record things for you. It's really putting your credibility out there then to hundreds of people. Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. So let's go through the importance of doing the networking event, or just for these guys that might be starting out and completely new to networking. Let's just summarize the importance of going to a networking event. Not necessarily hosting, because that's maybe another step that you want to take at some point in the future. Just taking that first step, getting out there and going to your first networking event.
Yeah.
Let's go over the benefits of doing that. So you could be, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll do one, you do one. Let's see how many we can get, right? Let's see who drops out first. So you could be developing your business, building your business. That's mine. Over to you.
Yeah. It could be as simple as you could literally just getting started, and you want to actually just see what it's all about and just be around like-minded people, because everyone could just look and say, what people like to say is, are you doing that property stuff?
Yeah.
And so you could feel a bit isolated and think, I feel like I'm doing this on my own, but just to go and say, okay, other people are doing property stuff as well, let's speak to these.
Yeah, so sort of customer experience from everybody else as to why not to do some things. Yeah, absolutely. Great idea. I'll tell you another benefit of going to a networking event as well. You don't tend to get employees at networking events. You tend to get employers at networking events. So if you're going somewhere because you want to network with people, you're probably talking to the business owners, or you're talking to the people that can make a decision, right? Because they're the ones that are incentivized to go networking. So my second one is going to be that you're talking to decision makers in the business. And so they're influential people, they're in property already, you're networking with people that can potentially help you out.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Yeah, I think another one for me, it'd be just going is to see the long-term goal in it. Because you could be quite overwhelmed as in turning up and thinking, okay, what's this going to benefit me? I'm going to have a few conversations, drink a few coffees, and I might not get much out of it. But you've got to always think of the reason why you set out on this trip, on this journey. And if you look and you think, okay, this is going to put me in front of the right-minded people, then always just have that at the back of your mind that you're doing it for a means to an end. You're not just going and you don't feel like it's maybe possibly a waste of time. And I think with that as well, you've got to try and look at when you're in there, you can overcome this hurdle of walking into the room, but then you can quickly be hit with another hurdle of just spending the full hour with one person because you're connected. It's just working the room. Speak to a number of people while you're in there.
Another benefit would be direct to vendor leads. So, and actually rolling all of that together, you're absolutely right. You can go to a networking event and you can scope out the kind of decisions that people have made, the kind of experience that people have made if they're, let's say, started a rent-to-rent company. So you can talk to somebody who started a rent-to-rent company. You can find out about their experience. You can find out that the way that they did it is totally achievable for you. And actually that might motivate you to think, yeah, you know what, I'm going to do this. But you don't have to wait till Monday morning before you start doing it. You can do it at the networking event, because you could meet somebody else there who's got a rental property that would be open to doing a rent-to-rent. So you can actually push your business forward very, very quickly at networking events. So you can get direct to vendor leads, because there will be people there that own property that want to do something with those properties. We've mentioned another couple. So we've mentioned credibility, and we've also mentioned attention and building your network and having that as a real tool, a real benefit of working with you because of the network that you've got behind you. But let's now look at what we do. So we've been to the networking event, we met some people, we got some business cards, and now it's the next day. What should we do now? Because we've made these connections, but we're not necessarily going out for a coffee with all of them. What is the right thing to do?
I think you'd adopt the exact same approach as what you should do when you're looking at submitting offers, really. When you're submitting offers on property, you're constantly following up. So it could be a week later, as they always say, it's not sold till it's sold. So 2 weeks down the line, you're ringing that estate agent, you're ringing that vendor and saying, Has it sold? Yes, no. And it's exactly the same. Once you've made those connections and got those inroads in, 2 weeks later, pick the phone back up, have a chat to them, see how they're doing, and just maintain and cultivate that relationship.
And as a bare minimum, so this is what I do as a routine, as a bare minimum. Whenever I go networking, if I've picked up somebody's business card or I've written down their telephone number and their email address, the next day, for an hour in the morning, I put that time spare. I'll block it out because I've been networking the night before. And I'll block it out so that I can send an email, and a personal email, not just a blanket email, a personal email to every single person that I made a connection with at that networking event. That's the bare minimum of what you do. After that, at the next time, because networking events tend to happen in cycles, don't they? So you'll get like one a month of a certain type of networking event. The next time that networking event comes around, I'll send an email to all of those people that I met at the previous one, just seeing whether they're going to go again, and just maintaining that connection between me and them. Because with a lot of people that you meet, you might not have an immediate need for their skills, for their expertise, for their knowledge. But that's not to say that you're not going to need it at some point in the future. And exactly the same for them, because it's not just about going to networking events and taking. It's about giving. It's about what you can give. Because if you give to people, if you help people, if you forward their interests, then they're going to remember you. And the rule of reciprocity says that they're probably going to be able to help you, and they'll go out of their way to help you at some point in the future. So as a main follow-up, if you've got no purpose with them at that moment, email the next day, send another email the next time that networking event comes round. Now, if there is something that you can do for them or they can do for you, then by all means go and have a coffee with them and have a chat about how you can help each other out. But if there's no immediate need, make sure that you stay in touch. Would you agree?
I think it's a great point around going and thinking that you're going there to give in a way. Because there's always that one person at a networking event that's running around saying, please invest in my deal. They've got that deal and they're going around and they want the cash. They're going, please, please, please. And if you go with that mentality, they always come away with nothing really.
Yeah.
It's just, you go with thinking, how can I help people in the room?
What can I give?
And before you know it, it just comes back. Then they go, okay, well I can help you.
I tell you, you'll be the most popular person in the room.
Yeah.
Right, won't you? Absolutely will. Okay, so have you got any other points to make? Because there's one thing that I want to box off. There's one other thing that I want to cover about going to networking events, which is about the fear of networking events. But before we get to that point, have you got any other things that you want to mention just before we move on to the fear and overcoming that fear?
No, but I think the biggest one for me, it would be, and I'm sort of repeating what I said earlier, is the like-minded people, because you just don't want to feel isolated. When you're in a room with full of people that are doing what you're doing, you come out naturally motivated, and it pushes you along, because you can get to those 3 weeks in between when you're not at the networking event. You can maybe start to become a little bit less disciplined, fall off a bit, and think, okay, but then you go there and you're upbeat and you're ready to go again. So I think it's just good for you, good for just picking you up as well.
I'll give you one tip, and I need to ask Luke a question before I give you this tip. Am I allowed to swear?
I'll beep it.
Thanks, Luke. A really good tip that a lot of people fall foul of is don't bull. Right, go to a networking event, and it's hard, isn't it? Because if you're just starting out in property, you go to a networking event, and the first person that you talk to will probably be some incredibly experienced developer. And you're standing there thinking, I don't know what to say to you because you've got so much experience. You're so far ahead of where I am. Don't bullshit. Just be honest. Just, by all means say, I'm really keen to talk to you. I think what you've achieved is amazing. It's exactly where I want to be. What were the things that you would avoid if you were going to go through the same journey again? Learn what you can from people. But as soon as you start to talk up your situation or talk up your experience without actually having the experience or without having that background, people will be able to tell. And that will destroy your reputation with them. So please, please, please don't bullshit. Just be honest with your experience. Everybody started from the same place where you are. So if it is the first time that you're doing it, don't be ashamed of it. Be excited about the opportunity that lies in front of you. That said, overcoming the fear. Now, I went through this 100%. I absolutely hated the thought of walking into a room full of people that I didn't know anybody, and there were chats going on all over the place, and there didn't seem to be one person that I could talk to. So how did I deal with that situation? But how did I motivate myself in order to get my foot through the door in the first place, to give myself the opportunity to overcome that situation? So I'm going to break that down into two. First of all, I really didn't like the idea of going, right? But what I did was I gave myself a bit of perspective as to why I should go. So I had goals in property, and let's just say that my goal was to have a portfolio worth £5 million. So equity in a portfolio worth £5 million. So if that's my goal, and I'm going to have X number of years in order to achieve that goal, I accept that networking is going to play a part in me achieving that goal, because I might meet somebody that's got a property that I can buy. I might meet a lender who's got criteria that suits the deal that I'm trying to get funded. I might meet somebody that's got experience in refurbishing property. I might meet an architect that I can use. Who knows how networking is going to help me? But I accept that networking will help me make that £5 million. Now, by me not going through that door into the networking event, by me choosing not to do that because my fear was holding me back, I'm basically saying I don't want to achieve that £5 million because my fear of walking through a door is bigger than my desire for £5 million. Well, that wasn't the case. It wasn't the case. I just hadn't given it that perspective to show me that this fear was ridiculous in comparison to what I was going to achieve, and what I was going to achieve was going to give me for the rest of my life and my family for the rest of my life. And I would suggest that that's a really good strategy to help you overcome little fears like that. Well, if I overcome it, what am I going to achieve? And how much does that mean to me? So you reframe it like that, you look at it like that, and all of a sudden, you know what, who cares? Who cares if I go to a networking event and there's nobody to talk to? I'll just hang out by the coffee. And who cares if, there's somebody there and I have to go and start a conversation because they're not starting a conversation with me? That's fine, I'll do that, because if I do it, and the perspective I had was, if I do it, I'm basically promising myself that in the future I'll make £5 million. So I'll go and talk to that person because it means £5 million. Or I'll walk through that door and go and talk to a room because it means £5 million. And that motivates you to overcome those silly little fears that hold you back, because that fear is just in your head, and it's not worth allowing that power to stop you making that money. So there's that. I hope that makes sense. Rory, have you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I would say more around accountability, just to get it out there. You go into this event, even put it on your socials, do anything you can just to make yourself more accountable, because we all like to do what we say we're going to do. And if you don't tell anyone, put it in your calendar, and you miss it, you go, oh, well, no one knew anyway. But if you tell people, and then you have to go and show face and say, actually, I was that event, did it go okay? You go, well, I never went. Why? You go, I got scared. You don't want to do that, so you're pushing yourself into it.
No. That's a really good point. Yeah, absolutely. Put yourself out there. Tell people what you're going to do, because if you say it, you'll do it. It's that simple. So that's it for today, folks. We hope you found the information useful and informative. But remember, our work doesn't stop here. At Sourced Franchise, we are dedicated to helping our clients succeed in property and the franchise industry. We're the first and only franchise of our kind, providing not just the training, but also knowledge, property leads, and even funding through Source Capital. If you want to take the next step in your property investment or franchise journey, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can send us an email or download the prospectus at sourcedfranchise.co for more information. We're committed to providing you with the tools and resources to help you succeed. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Remember, Source Franchise, we're here to help you every step of the way. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave your comments, and we always appreciate your 5-star reviews. Thanks very much. See you next time.